Hi, dear friends. Once again, I'm out here with our daily dose of questions at IPMAT for IPMAT at iQuanta. Quickly join in so that we can start with the practice. Yesterday, we started with our uh, we started with our fill in the blanks. We are going to continue with that. But आज हम कुछ नए patterns लेकर आएंगे, right? New types of questions. आपको पता होना चाहिए कि क्या क्या आ सकता है आपके यहाँ पे. Hi, respected Lord. Am I audible? आवाज आ रही है मेरी? बढ़िया बढ़िया बढ़िया. ओके. हाय अदिति. हाय निर्मित. ठीक है. सो इन द लास्ट क्लास वी स्टार्टेड टॉकिंग अबाउट फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स. ठीक है ना. फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स क्यों मैं शुरू करता हूँ बिकॉज राइट आकाश इट इज okay Adarsh, I'll remember that. Fine. So last class what we did was we started working on our fill in the blanks and I told you that fill in the blanks is it's a friend and the most doable question. ठीक है. सबसे आसान होते हैं, आराम से निकल सकते हैं, ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लेते हैं, तो हमेशा फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स में बहुत ज़्यादा फोकस रहना. ठीक है ना. सो स्टार्ट विद दिस. हियर इट इज. सो फॉर फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स पार्ट 2, हियर वी आर. दिस इज आवर फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ द डे. ठीक है. अब देखो ध्यान से, व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन थिंग. आउट हियर दे हैव गिवन अक्रॉस 5 ऑप्शंस और ये पांचों के पांचों क्या हैं. देयर इज अ वर्ब एंड देयर इज अ preposition. ठीक है ना. Or it could have been an adverb. Okay. Not the adverb of manner but this kind. Preposition वाले जो होते हैं adverb. ठीक है. If this comes across at any point, these are called as phrasal. आपके पेपरों के लिए somewhere around 15,000 plus phrasal verbs आपको पता होने चाहिए. ठीक है. But okay, to start with, let's see where do we stand out here. देखो इसे. Although the investigation initially dashed promising leads, it eventually stalled due to lack of credible evidence. ठीक है. देखकर बताओ क्या होगा आंसर. Okay, Adarsh has given an answer. What about the others? Akash says C. Okay. Nirmit says B. Adarsh says B. ठीक है. चलो देखते हैं. अब यहाँ पे देखिए turned है. The common verb is turned. ठीक है ना. And there are certain words written out here. ठीक है ना. अब वापस चलते हैं, सेंटेंस को पढ़ते हैं और देखते हैं कि इसका मीनिंग क्या बन सकता है. राइट. Although the investigation initially dash promising leads. Initially dash promising leads. और एंड में क्या हुआ. It eventually stalled due to lack of credible evidence. इसका मतलब the next part of the sentence is negative, which means this has to be a positive thought process. Yes. अब देखो ध्यान से, यहाँ पे turn के साथ क्या लगा हुआ है. Down. When it goes down, it's not a positive thing, right? Turned up is a positive thing. up की तरफ जा रहा है. ठीक है ना. तो शायद ये पॉजिटिव हो गया, ये आपका नेगेटिव हो गया. Turned out turned out is almost like something that has come up, right? तो इसको अभी हम न्यूट्रल रखते हैं. टर्न्ड ऑफ नेगेटिव है. टर्न्ड ओवर कैन ऑल्सो बी न्यूट्रल. तो भाई दो तो हमारे हट रहे हैं, डी पार्ट एंड ए पार्ट कैन नॉट बी आवर आंसर्स, राइट? नाउ वी आर लेफ्ट विद व्हाट? वी आर लेफ्ट विद either way it is going to be turned up or it would be turned down or turn out. ठीक है, क्या कहते हो? What should be our answer? I need a positive answer. I don't need a neutral answer, and therefore your best bet out here should be B. ठीक है, right? मीनिंग देखते हैं. टर्न डाउन का मतलब रिजेक्टेड. एज आई सेड, डाउन लगा हुआ है तो ये जनरली नेगेटिव जाएगा, ठीक है ना? तो ये नेगेटिव था, ठीक है. टर्न्ड अप का मतलब क्या होता है? इट मींस डिस्कवर्ड और फाउंड अनएक्सपेक्टेडली. लेट्स कम बैक. ऑल्दो द इन्वेस्टिगेशन इनिशियली फाउंड प्रॉमिसिंग लीड्स, है ना, हो सकता है काम कर रहा है. टर्न्ड अप मतलब समथिंग विच इज हैपनिंग आउट देयर, राइट? समथिंग दैट दे हैव फाउंड और दे हैव डिस्कवर्ड, ठीक है. ओके, टर्न्ड आउट का मतलब क्या होता है? रिजल्टेड और प्रूव टू बी. सो दिस इज मोर टूवर्ड्स, यू नो व्हाट, द कंक्लूजन, ठीक है ना. यहाँ पे इनिशियली कंक्लूडेड प्रॉमिसिंग लीड्स तो नहीं हो सकता, तो इसलिए टर्न्ड आउट न्यूट्रल था और इट इज़ नॉट वर्किंग फॉर अस, राइट? क्योंकि रिजल्ट पॉजिटिव भी हो सकता है, नेगेटिव भी हो सकता है. टर्न्ड ऑफ, ऑफ कर दिया, है ना, तो वी नो दैट ऑफ जनरली क्लोजेस, shuts things down, right? And therefore discouraged or switched off is the right thought process, and it is a negative thought process. ठीक है, off लिखा हो, down लिखा हो, so they are basically थोड़ा सा negative, right? Turned over, तो इसका मतलब over हो गया तो flip कर गया, right? Handed control, so turned over his control, है ना, turned over the car to him, तो वो कंट्रोल दे दिया, या वो फ्लिप कर गया, he turned over sides, है ना, तो उसमें वो फ्लिप कर गया. सो दिस इज अगेन न्यूट्रल, पॉजिटिव न्यूट्रल, नेगेटिव न्यूट्रल, कुछ भी हो सकता है ये, ठीक है ना. तो इसीलिए द ओनली थिंग दैट इज पॉसिबल आउट हियर इज टर्न अप. फाइन, आई होप एवरीवन हैज अंडरस्टूड. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन करिए, एंड आई नीड मोर आंसर्स दिस टाइम. The committee decided to dash the proposal after realizing that its long-term costs had been underestimated. पॉजिटिव चल रहा है, नेगेटिव चल रहा है? No? Anyone who can tell me the answer? Okay, so Arnav says it should be a negative thought process. देखते हैं. The committee decided to dash the proposal. अच्छा, वो proposal को कुछ करना चाहते तो positive होगा या negative होगा, right? After realizing that its long-term costs had been underestimated. इसका मतलब long term में will it be a costly affair or not? Yes. It is saying cost had been underestimated. मतलब cost कम लगाए गए हैं. It would be more costlier, like it would be costlier than that. So cost ये नेगेटिव हो गया थोड़ा सा, है ना. तो इसीलिए यहाँ पर भी डिसाइडेड टू, उन्होंने प्रपोजल को क्या करना होगा, तो इट हैज़ टू बी अ नेगेटिव थॉट प्रोसेस टुवर्ड्स इट, राइट? ओके फाइन, सो उसके हिसाब से देखते हैं. ओके, निर्मित सेज ऑप्शन ए, राइट? ठीक है. प्रगति सेज ई, आदर सेज ई, एंड more of Princey. Okay, more of Princey. As per you, the option is A. Let's see. अब भाई कॉल ऑफ लिखा हुआ है. कॉल ऑफ इज योर नेगेटिव, हमें पता है. कॉल अप थोड़ा सा पॉजिटिव चलता है. कॉल ऑफ नेगेटिव है, कॉल ऑन इज अगेन पॉजिटिव, कॉल आउट इज अगेन न्यूट्रल काइंड ऑफ थिंग, ठीक है. कॉल फॉर इज अगेन पॉजिटिव. इफ आई एम कॉलिंग फॉर समवन विच मीन्स आई वॉन्ट इट आउट देयर, तो ये तो हो गया आपका पॉजिटिव, विच इज द ओनली आंसर पॉसिबल. देखकर पता लग रहा है अब. Yes, the answer has to be A. Very good. है ना. So guys, tell me, phrasal, is it good or bad? Phrasal workable है या नहीं है? Yes, it is actually workable, right? So ऐसे वाले क्वेश्चंस पे ज़्यादा वो नहीं करने का है, टेंशन नहीं लेने का है. ये क्वेश्चंस अगर आप थोड़ा सा ध्यान से करते रहोगे, so you can actually get the answers, ठीक है. So what is it? Call off, okay, and accordingly. Let's move on. Call off का मतलब क्या था? Call off का मतलब होता है cancel, है ना. He called off the wedding, she called off the wedding, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Cancel कर दिया, right? So call off is always negative thought process. Call up is to, call up मतलब बुलाना, summon किया या phone किया उसे, तो this one is what? This one is a positive thought process, as I told you, right? Call on, request someone to speak or act, तो हम उससे कुछ काम करवाना चाहते हैं, तो this is again positive, है ना. Call out is publicly criticize, which is negative, or shout, which is again negative, positive, both. So it can be what? It can be neutral, taken as neutral. And call for is demand or require, right? When we demand something or we require something, it was called for, you know. So it was required, yeah, it was demanded. So that's why this is also the thought process. If you know the meaning, then they are best. If not, they are worst. Definitely, Akash, that can be. But then again, even if you don't know the meaning, see, yesterday itself I told you all that even if you don't know the meaning, even then you have to be smart enough to eliminate the options, right? Because that would provide you with a better deal and getting a better answer out there. Okay? So keeping that in mind, let's move on. Yep, question number 3. Anyone? Even though the professor tried to dash the issue diplomatically, the underlying disagreement remained unresolved. Okay, fine. So we have got uh, more of Princey. Bhavna says B. अर्नव says सर रीडिंग के लिए रेलिवेंट सोर्सेज बता दीजिए. रीडिंग एज इन सी, अभी बताता हूँ. हाँ अर्नव, 2 मिनट देना, पहले इसका आंसर करते हैं, फिर उसके बाद बताता हूँ, ठीक है. ओके, वैशाली सेज बैक आउट, प्रगति सेज सी. ओके ठीक है, अभी हमने बोला था कि ये आसान है, अभी ये मुश्किल सा हो गया है. चलो ठीक है, वापस देखो इसमें. लुक इनटू दिस. इवन दो द प्रोफेसर ट्राइड टू डैश द इशू डिप्लोमेटिकली, ठीक है, ट्राई टू डैश द इशू डिप्लोमेटिकली, तो यहाँ पे कैसा चाहिए मेरे को? पॉजिटिव चाहिए या नेगेटिव चाहिए? पहले तो ये बताओ. सेकंड says the underlying disagreement remained unresolved, which means the disagreement that was there, it was unresolved, which means was it solved or not? Was there a solution to it, to the disagreement? Okay, Akash, good. Yes, definitely, definitely. ठीक है, good. Everyone has given the right thought process. It is a positive sentence, है ना? Because if you look at the second part of it, the disagreement remained unresolved, which means it is negative, and there is also even though. तो even though के बाद वाला अगर पॉजिटिव होगा तभी जाकर उसके बाद वाला नेगेटिव होगा, राइट? और इसीलिए so we have to remove this part. It has to be positive thought process. Smooth over, smooth, हर चीज स्मूथ हो गई तो ये इसका मतलब ये तो पॉजिटिव है ना? लुक इनटू क्या है? लुक इनटू इज पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव? बताओ जल्दी. ब्रेक डाउन तो नेगेटिव हो गया, फॉल अपार्ट नेगेटिव हो गया, बैक आउट नेगेटिव हो गया, है ना? तो भैया लुक इनटू क्या है? लुक इनटू पॉजिटिव, नेगेटिव, न्यूट्रल क्या है? व्हाट शुड आई गो अक्रॉस विद? शुड आई कीप इट एज पॉजिटिव, नेगेटिव और न्यूट्रल? No, it has to be neutral. Very good, Harshita. Look into has to be neutral, right? Why is it should be neutral? Because look into, so it can be I can see something negative or I might find something positive. I really don't know whether it is going to work positive or negative, so it has to be neutral. Now tell me what is the answer? Vishali, everyone has to understand the questions as well, right? It would definitely get speed up, but it in due course, right? So right now, what I'm working upon is your thought process. That is more important, right? Yeah. Tell me, tell me, tell me. The answer cannot be B, guys. Look into is a neutral word, and I have a positive word out here, right? If there is a positive word out here, then what do? I cannot take neutral word in front of positive because I need a positive word out here. So the answer is A. Okay. Even though the professor tried to smooth over the issue diplomatically, which means like what is going to happen? It is talking about something which is getting smooth, which means friction free, right? So A is a better answer. See, even after not knowing the meaning, there would be places where it would be, okay, where it can actually work for us. Look into this. Smooth over. What does it mean? Make a problem seem less serious, right? This is again a positive thing. Look into means investigate. So investigate can be a positive thing or a negative thing. Neutral. Breakdown, stop functioning, right? Stop functioning or analyze. So analyze is also there. So I would take it as a negative or neutral, right? Fall apart is collapse, which means it is totally negative. Back out, withdraw from commitment. So you have committed something, but you are backing from there, backing out from there, which means you are doing negative. So इसीलिए automatically what should be the better answer? The answer has to be positive. Okay? Yeah. Move in. Question number 4. The startup struggled to dash increasing competition while simultaneously managing declining investor confidence. What do I do? Okay, let's see. Harshita, Arnav, fine. Two people have answered. Let's see. The startup struggled to do something. Okay, struggled to. So when I struggle to do something, what do? Positive thing or a negative thing? So generally I do a positive thing, right? Increasing competition while simultaneously managing declining investor confidence. Fine, which means like the investors, they have lost confidence on the startup. Fine, but it is still struggling to do something. Fine, okay, right. So Akar says A or E. Nirmit also says A, E. Okay, let's look at this. So what does it say? Keep up with. Keep up with, what does that mean? Keep up with. Keep up with is going what? At the same level, trying to keep up, we say that, right? Okay. And with what? With is talking about increasing competition, right? With the competition, we are trying to keep up, right? So A part is a definite answer. Run out of is negative, but if they run out of the increasing competition, then the rest of the sentence does not make sense. Then it would not be struggling because it is already out of the struggle. So run out goes away. Get away with. Get away with what? It's like when you do something wrong and you get away with it, right? We remember that. So that means get away with cannot be my answer. Look down on is negative, but it cannot be. They cannot struggle to look down on someone else, right? You cannot struggle to insult someone. So this is not going to work. Catch up on. Okay, fine. So definitely we know that B, C, D are not the answers, right? Now A and E are written, and as many of you have given across options as A and E, now tell me which one would you go for? Would you go for A or would you go for E? The answer has to be A. The answer cannot be E, right? Catch up on. When I catch up on something, what do? I try to, you know, you are late. You need to catch up on this, right? You need to catch up on the work. So what does it mean? So there is some pending work you have, pending work, and you need to finish that, right? So you need to finish the pending work. Just look at it. Can I use it out here? The startup struggle to finish the pending work, increasing competition, or the startup struggle to keep up with increasing competition. So of course A is the right answer. Okay. So what does it mean keep up with? Key stay at the same level. So which also means to be at par. Right? Run out of, what does that mean? Run out of means something exhaust supply. So the car has run out of fuel. So it is what? It has run out of fuel. So that is how it is. So it is of course negative. Get away with is escape punishment. Fine. He killed his friend and got away with it. What does that mean? What would that mean if I say got away with it? It would mean that he was not punished. He was not sent to jail or anything of that sort. So this is again, I don't know is it positive or negative, but definitely cannot work out here. Look down on, consider inferior. So when you look down on someone, you are considering the person not to be at your level and you are actually looking at him with disrespect. Of course, a negative thought process. Catch up on, complete delayed work. So you reached office late and now you need to complete the delayed work, right? So that is catching on. Okay, right. So this is what it is, and thus your answer was keep up with. Okay. Phrasal question last. Quickly do it. The negotiator warned that unless both sides were willing to dash certain demands, the talks would fail. Hmm. What should be your answer? Okay. Pragati was the first one to give the answer. And Pragati, you are actually correct, right? The negotiator want that unless both sides were willing to dash certain demands. So certain demands they have to agree to, right? The talks would fail. Something like that. Okay. Now there is given across as given, there is give off, give away. Give away certain demands, like I don't know, might have worked out there. Give out certain demands, give up certain demands. Now this is quite, it is very tough kind of thought process, right? But we know what is give in. So he gave in. We pursued him so much that he gave in, which means what? He surrendered. Okay, one is surrender. Give off. Um, the the plant gave off such a terrible smell that nobody went near it. Okay, so what is it? It means something. Give off is basically to emit. Okay, to give out. Okay, next, but give out and give off again, they are very different. Fine. Sorry. What is give away? So give away is basically donate. You know, he gave away gifts, so he gave away is donate. Or we can also say present, right? He gave away the prizes, so presents. Presented the gifts. We can say that. Okay. Next, give out. Now, what is give out? When I give out something, what do? I distribute. Most probably, gave out orders, gave out work. Fine. So that is distribute. And give up is when I abandon. Okay. I gave up things, right? I am unable to understand your method. Oh. More of Princey, what exactly you want to do in this? Look at this question. In this wala, when I do this question, fine, what is going to happen is, uh, इससे पहले वाले जो हमने questions किए थे, the previous questions, right? In that sense, we could actually catch hold of those words, right? In, off, away, out, up. So we were trying to make positive and negative, right? But in this case, in such a case, what is going to happen? It is not always going to work. Now, in this one, it is quite confusing. Understood? So, when this one is confusing, how do you go about with this? So, either way, in this case, the trick is not going to work. We need to learn the meanings out here. Okay. So, at points, you would be learning the meanings. At points, you would not be learning the meanings and you would be doing it with a smart guess. तो वो बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जो हमारे काम करेंगे. Understood? ठीक है. So more of Princey, this is what I'm trying to teach out here, that some things are going to work for you, some things are not going to work for you, and you have to come across with a middle path. ठीक है. So Princey, any problem, you ask me again. ठीक है. So look at this part. अब यहाँ पे बताओ, the negotiator want that unless both sides were willing to dash certain demands. Emit तो हो नहीं सकता, डोनेट भी नहीं होगा, डिस्ट्रीब्यूट सर्टन डिमांड्स भी नहीं हो सकता, abandon certain demands या surrender to certain demands. कौन सा वाला होगा? तो your thought process should be about A. ठीक है? When you surrender to those demands. ठीक है? कि भाई सामने वाले ने डिमांड बोला, डिमांड इज जनरली कमिंग अक्रॉस फ्रॉम द अदर साइड, राइट? तो उसने डिमांड बोला एंड यू आर सरेंडरिंग टू इट, विच मीन्स यू आर अग्रीइंग टू इट. अंडरस्टूड? सो देयरफॉर ए इज द बेटर आंसर. ठीक है, एक बार जल्दी से मेरे को यहाँ पे बताओ. Till question number 5, we actually studied phrasal. Okay? इसके बाद से टाइप विल चेंज अगेन. ठीक है, तो पहले मेरे को बताओ कि यहाँ तक सबको समझ में आ गया क्वेश्चन नंबर 5? Okay. Okay. Fine. Yeah, everyone has understood. Pretty good. ठीक है, आगे चलते हैं. Now come across to the next one. Look at the options again. Again, this is a fill in the blank question, but इस बार options बहुत अलग हैं. Look at these. Are these phrasal? Are these vocabulary based? No. These words, they are called as such. They would be called as what? Idioms. है ना? So again, the thought process is same, right? You want to do a question based on idioms. Either way, you learn the idioms first and then do the questions, or you try to find out the questions that you can do without learning the idioms. Understood? तो ये चीज़ हमारे लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि अगर हम ये सोच लें ना गलती से भी कि हाँ जी हम क्वेश्चन को पहले सारा याद करेंगे फिर जाकर क्वेश्चन कर पाएंगे, it is never going to work, my friends. Why? Because you cannot learn all the idioms, right? So there are some idioms you know, there are some idioms you don't. ठीक है, तो उसके हिसाब से आपको चलना है. करके देखते हैं questions. Although the negotiation appeared cordial and the committee claimed progress had been made, the talks ultimately collapsed because one side was merely dashed while secretly preparing to withdraw. Okay. This time Nirmit has given the first answer. What about the rest? Try it out. Okay. Do you know the meanings of these words? Do you know what is beating around the bush, paying lip service, moving the goalposts, drawing a blank, burning the midnight oil? Do you know these words? Okay. Three people have answered, and the answers are not the same. Two people have answered A, one has said B. What about the rest? भाई यहाँ पे सिर्फ मेरे से मिलने नहीं आना है, आंसर भी देना है, ठीक है ना? ओके, another B. Beating around the bush means nor coming on. Not coming on means fine. Shonin says B. Not coming to the point. Okay, not coming to the point. This is what you want to say. Fine. So I'll just give you the meanings first. Beating around the bush. What does it mean? Avoiding the main issue. Fine. Avoiding the main issue. Paying lip service is expressing support. Expressing support. We are giving support without sincere action, which means we are just saying, but we are not committed to the point, right? We are not sincere in that. Okay, we might not even do it. We are just giving lip service, right? We are just saying it for the sake of it. Okay, moving the goalpost means changing rules unfairly. Okay, भाई फुटबॉल है, फुटबॉल में गोल मारने आ रहे हैं, हमने गोल पोस्ट ही हटा दिया, तो वो कैसे गोल मारेगा? बट गोल पोस्ट हटाना फेयर नहीं है, एंड दैट इज वाई इट इज अनफेयरली. ठीक है. ड्रॉइंग अ ब्लैंक, अभी जैसे हमारे बीच में क्या था, व्हाट वाज हिज नेम ब्रो, प्रिंसी, हाँ जी, प्रिंसी drew a blank right now. He said like I couldn't understand how to go about, so which is failing to get results or ideas. ठीक है ना. एंड देन वी हैव गॉट बर्निंग द मिडनाइट ऑयल. बर्निंग द मिडनाइट ऑयल जो अभी तुम्हारे को 12th में बहुत ज़्यादा पड़ेगी, विच इज़ वर्किंग लेट इन टू द नाइट. ठीक है. कीपिंग दैट इन माइंड, गिव मी द आंसर, व्हाट शुड इट बी? Although the negotiations appeared cordial, cordial मतलब क्या होता है? Something which is friendly, अच्छा चल रहा था. And the committee claimed progress had been made. And committee claimed कि हाँ भाई progress हुआ है, progress हुआ है. The talks ultimately collapsed. But what happened? Talks collapse कर गए. ठीक है ना? Did not work. Because one side was merely doing something. What? Merely beating around the bush? नहीं हो सकता मेरे दोस्त. They were merely giving the lip service, right? They were just talking, हाँ बहुत अच्छा होगा, ये होगा, वो होगा. But inside, what was happening? While secretly preparing to withdraw, वो जबकि क्या कर रहे थे? They were preparing to withdraw. नहीं करना जी इनके साथ. So B part is the right answer. Okay. बेटा इसमें E कैसे आ सकता है? Because one side was merely क्या? आधी रात को जागकर काम कर रहे थे वो, while secretly preparing to withdraw. ठीक है, ये नहीं होगा मेरे दोस्त. The other part is the answer has to be paying lip service. ठीक है. Has everyone understood the question? It's an important question. Clear? Okay, let's move on to the next question. अब सारी कहानी ना यहाँ पे घूम रही होगी. Either way, you know what is call it day, pull the wool over their eyes, get cold feet, take the plunge, face the music. ये सब होगा, ठीक है ना? If you know these meanings, then there would be chances that you can get the answer. If not, then of course you would always draw a blank. Okay, cool. So you need the meanings right now. चलो मीनिंग देखते हैं. पहले मीनिंग देख लेते हैं, फिर बात करते हैं. What is it? Call it a day means stop working. ठीक है, जैसे मूवी थिएटर्स में हम कहते हैं एवरीवन सेड लेट्स कॉल इट अ डे, तो मतलब लेट्स स्टॉप वर्किंग. ठीक है. पुल द वूल ओवर वंस आईज मतलब डिसीव करना या मिसलीड करना. ठीक है ना, डिसीव करना या मिसलीड करना. गेट कोल्ड फीट मीन्स लूज करेज. ठीक है. व्हेन ही वाज आस्क्ड ही थॉट ऑफ प्रपोजिंग टू हर बट ही गॉट कोल्ड फीट मतलब ही लॉस्ट करेज, ही डिड नॉट प्रपोज टू हर. ठीक है ना. टेक द प्लंज मीन्स व्हाट? कमिट टू समथिंग रिस्की. ठीक है, क्योंकि प्लंज ले रहे हैं तो इसीलिए इट इज क्वाइट रिस्की, याद रखना. ठीक है. फेस द म्यूजिक इज एक्सेप्ट कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज. ठीक है. नाउ दैट वी डिडंट गेट गुड मार्क्स, वी हैड टू फेस द म्यूजिक मतलब वी हैड टू एक्सेप्ट द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज जो भी होगा उसके साथ, राइट? कीपिंग दैट इन माइंड, लेट्स गो टू द क्वेश्चन. व्हाट डज इट से? Even though the CEO promised transparency and shareholders initially trusted the assurances. Okay. It soon became clear that the disclosures were designed to dash rather than genuinely inform. Rather than genuinely inform. Which means, is it informing or not? Is it informative or not? Of course, it is not informative. Right? It is not at all informative. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Initially trusted the assurance, it soon became clear that the disclosures were designed to dash. Okay. तो इसके हिसाब से क्या होगा? एक ही थॉट प्रोसेस बनता है. चलो कॉल इट अ डे ना, गेट कोल्ड फीट ना, टेक द प्लंज बिल्कुल नहीं, फेस द म्यूजिक बिल्कुल नहीं. द ओनली थिंग विच इज पॉसिबल इज बी. Why? Because B part talked about what? It talked about deception, cheating, right? So was designed to cheat rather than genuinely inform. So therefore B is the right answer. Good, very good. Let's move on. Third one. While the policy was introduced with great enthusiasm, the critics were initially silenced. Its flaws became obvious once. Now you can see एक और चीज हो रही है यहाँ पे. क्या? The size of the sentences are getting bigger, right? तो ये भी एक पंगा है. When you are sitting across for IPMAT का, especially Indore, so you would see sentences of this size. ठीक है. तो ऐसे वाले केस में आपको थोड़ा सा ध्यान देना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. Once again, I hope everyone has seen the sentence. It says, while the policy was introduced with great enthusiasm, ठीक है, so great enthusiasm, while आ गया साथ में, and critics were initially silenced. Critics भी चुप थे. Nobody was saying anything against it. Its flaws became obvious. Flaws का मतलब क्या होता है? Tell me what are flaws? became obvious once the government had to dash and confront the unintended consequences. Okay, ठीक है, गवर्नमेंट को कुछ करना पड़ा and it had to confront, ठीक है, the unintended consequences. So what can be the thought process? Anyone who can give me an answer? I'll just give you the meanings first. Toe the line means obey rules. Okay. Bite the bullet means what? Face a painful or difficult situation bravely. Okay. Jump on the bandwagon means follow a popular trend. Okay. Cut corners means do something cheaply or carelessly. Okay. And the next one is steal the show, which is attract all attention. ठीक है, सोच के बताओ आपका आंसर क्या होना चाहिए. What should be your answer? Should I give it back? Yeah. Okay. Very good. Shonen, then Om. I believe Pragati, you have also given the answer for this one. Respected Lord. Good. So yes, the answer is bite the bullet. What was bite the bullet? एक बार फिर से देख लेते हैं. Bite the bullet says face a painful or difficult situation bravely. है ना? अब क्या हुआ? Its flaws became obvious. है ना? Flaws तो दिख गए उसके. ठीक है? Once the government had to dash and confront the unintended consequences. उन्हें पता नहीं था कि ये consequences होंगे, तो उन्हें वो bravely क्या करना पड़ा? Face करना पड़ा. So that is why the answer is going to be B. ठीक है? Okay. Fourth, although the researcher had strong evidence and despite repeated warnings from colleagues, ठीक है, she decided to publish the findings only after she was sure she was not dashed by premature conclusions. What do I do? Nice one, this question. Let me give you the options. चलिए, मीनिंग पकड़ते हैं पहले. Barking up the wrong tree means what? Pursuing a mistaken idea. ठीक है ना? तो मतलब आपको कुछ पता लगा and you started, you misinterpreted and then you started working on those lines, right? Which is wrong. So which means you are barking up the wrong tree. ठीक है ना? ये एक हो गया. Putting the cart before the horse मतलब doing things in the wrong order. Sequence गलत पकड़ लिया, उल्टा काम कर लिया या something like that. ठीक है ना? Skating on thin ice means taking a serious risk. है ना? Ice बहुत thin है. If you are skating on it, it might break. You might fall in the water, right? Reading between the lines is interpreting hidden meaning. ठीक है? कुछ लिखा हुआ है वो हम समझने के decode करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. ठीक है ना? Sitting on the fence means avoiding commitment. It means ना तो वो इस तरफ जा रहा है ना वो इस तरफ जा रहा है. He's just sitting in the middle. He's saying देखी जाएगी. समझ में आ गया? Keeping that in mind, I'm coming back to this thought process. Now tell me which one would I go across with? Okay, Pragati would want to give answer E. Okay, Shonin says A, barking up the wrong tree by premature. Look at this. By premature conclusions. This is the key word. Fill in the blanks में भाई keywords का बहुत importance है. ठीक है ना? You catch hold of the keywords and they would help you out. समझ में आ गया? तो कोशिश करके देखो. Barking up the wrong tree का मतलब क्या था? Pursuing some idea, है ना? Wrong or you can say mistaken idea. Will it work? Putting the cart before the horse का मतलब क्या था? Disorder, right? In the wrong order. Doing things in the wrong order, है ना? अब look at it carefully. Although researchers had strong evidence, उसके पास evidence था. Despite repeated warnings from colleagues, she decided to publish the findings. Decided to publish the findings only after she was sure she was not dashed by premature conclusions, है ना? So she's not pursuing something wrong or mistaken idea, right? Rather, she does not want to go in other what, in a different, in a wrong order. Process गलत नहीं करना चाहती, वो process सही रखना चाहती है, and that is why she wanted to be sure and then go to the publishing part. And therefore the right answer, the better answer is B. ठीक है guys, कैसा लगा ये वाला क्वेश्चन? थोड़ा अजीब सा था, है ना? सो वहाँ पर क्या होगा, यू वुड हैव दिस काइंड ऑफ थॉट प्रोसेस एंड यू वुड बी ट्रिक्ड. तो आपको बहुत ध्यान से देना है कि कौन से वाले में करना है, कौन सा वाला करना है, ठीक है ना? राइट. So just look at it once and tell me if you have understood. I'll go. What is the difference between premature and immature? See, premature is basically, amateur is basically a beginner, a rookie kind of a person. ठीक है? He's an amateur player. We cannot say he's a premature player, right? But the baby was premature, we can say that, which means what? By the time it was supposed to be it was supposed to take birth, it actually took the birth before that, right? It got born before the actual time, and that is why it is premature. Never rush to a premature conclusion or amateur conclusion. Which one would it be? Never rush to a premature conclusion or an amateur conclusion. Which one would you take? Yeah, Nirmit, I'm just doing it. So if I say yes, Shonin, ठीक है? अब देखो, barking up the wrong tree का मतलब क्या हुआ? देखो ध्यान से. Okay, effect and effect. First thing, effect is basically something that has already happened, right? Effect is something which has an influence, right? So that is, again, effect would be a kind of how the conclusion. What was the conclusion? The conclusion was bad, right? So it was affected, not affected. Understood? But it affects my heart or it affects my lungs. It means it has influence on me, but does not mean that it has already had the influence on me, right? It can have an influence on me. There is no conclusion in, there is no outcome in it. ठीक है ना? Fine. So what can we say? Terrorism has affected tourism or has affected tourism. So it should be affected. Why? Conclusion हुआ उसमें, है ना? Outcome है उसका, असर है, ठीक है? We should stop terrorism as it has dash on tourism. Effect on tourism, effect on tourism. So you would say effect on tourism because it has effect on it, as an influence on it. Has everyone understood the meanings? चलो ठीक है, हमने क्या कहा? She asked the questions to the wrong person. ठीक है जी? बताओ इन पांचों में से, out of these five, which one would it be? Will it be barking up the wrong tree? Will it be putting the cart before the horse? Will it be skating on thin ice? Will it be reading between the lines? Will it be sitting on the fence? वेरी गुड निर्मित. बार्किंग अप द रॉन्ग ट्री. ठीक है, अब जरा इसको लगाओ इसमें. इज इट वर्किंग आउट हियर? शी वॉज लाइक, she decided to publish the findings only after she was sure she was not barking up the wrong tree. Fine. Pursuing some wrong or mistaken idea. Can we use it out here? अब अगर ये यहाँ पे होता ना, till this just the blank, सिर्फ अगर blank तक होता, I could have said yes, A part can be my answer. Yes or no? है ना? It could have been my A, right? But आगे क्या लिखा हुआ है? By premature conclusion, which means they are not going the wrong way. They just want to say like, okay, ये जो मेरा conclusion है, ये conclusion मेरा premature तो नहीं है, कहीं मैंने पहले से ही तो नहीं ढूंढ लिया. मतलब जो चीज़ पता होना चाहिए था उससे पहले ही मैंने impulsive काम कर दिया या कुछ ऐसा कर दिया. तो वैसे वाली बात चल रही है यहाँ पे, ठीक है ना? सो इट इज़ नॉट गोइंग कि उन्होंने पूरा फाइंडिंग ही उनका गलत था. दिस इज नॉट व्हाट दे आर सेइंग. अगर फाइंडिंग ही गलत होता, आई वुड हैव गॉन अक्रॉस विद barking up the wrong tree. Understood? बी पार्ट देखते हैं क्या कहता है. पुटिंग द कार्ट बिफोर द हॉर्स. व्हाट डज दैट मीन? पुटिंग द कार्ट बिफोर द हॉर्स. कार्ट क्या होता है? कार्ट होता है जो आपका, जो वी पुट बिहाइंड द हॉर्स, राइट? और जनरली ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. आगे कौन होना चाहिए? हॉर्स होना चाहिए. उसके पीछे कौन होना चाहिए? उसका कार्ट होना चाहिए. ठीक है, बट ये क्या कह रहा है? पुटिंग द कार्ट बिफोर द हॉर्स. तो उससे पहले लगा दिया हमने, उल्टा कर दिया हमने, विच इज़ नॉट वर्किंग. तो वो क्या कह रहे हैं? वो कह रहे हैं कि बिफोर शी पब्लिशेस, पब्लिश होने से पहले श्योर होना चाहिए, या श्योर होकर मतलब पब्लिश करने से पहले श्योर होना चाहिए, या श्योर होने से पहले पब्लिश कर दो. क्या करूँ मैं? विच वन इज बेटर? सो द राइट ऑर्डर इज पहले पब्लिश एंड देन श्योर, है ना? इज इट राइट और रॉन्ग? The right sequence, the right order is पहले publish फिर sure. सही है गलत? Of course, this is wrong. है ना? क्या होना चाहिए? पहले sure होना चाहिए, फिर उसके बाद publish होना चाहिए, है ना? Yeah, very good. ठीक है ना? तो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? She decided to publish the findings only after she was sure, है ना? She was not dash क्या? Putting the cart before the horse. अब तो सही है कि वो ऑर्डर नहीं गलत करना चाहती थी. पहले श्योर देन पब्लिश. वेरी गुड निर्मित. तो निर्मित, कैन वी हैव बी एज एन आंसर और नॉट? ठीक है, आई होप एवरीवन हैज अंडरस्टूड. इफ यू स्टिल हैव अ क्वेश्चन, डू आस्क मी, आई विल मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड. नेक्स्ट. Good, Nirmit, good. Now come across. Question number 5. Even if the startup survives its initial losses and provided that investors remain patient, its long term success will depend on whether management can dash instead of relying on short term hype. चलो जी. See, what really happens is जैसे ही sentence थोड़ा बड़ा हो जाता है ना, it becomes very, if you are not good at reading, if you do not read much, then these kind of questions would become a bit problematic. Why? Because you would keep on reading and reading. You might read it again and again as well. So that is called as what? Regression. तो इन सब से बचने के लिए बेस्ट पार्ट ये है कि उसको ढंग से एक ही बारे में समझने की कोशिश करो. ठीक है? What does it say? Even if the startup survives its initial losses and provided that investors remain patient. मतलब दो चीज़ें होंगी. Even if, ठीक है ना? Even if का मतलब वो पहले से ही उसको पॉजिटिव या नेगेटिव सोच रहा है. ठीक है ना? स्टार्टअप survives its initial losses. जो losses हो रही हैं वो उसको सर्वाइव कर जाए. एंड प्रोवाइडेड दैट इन्वेस्टर्स, प्रोवाइडेड दैट मतलब ये स्टार्टअप प्रोवाइड नहीं कर रहा, इन्वेस्टर्स रिमेन पेशेंट, और अगर हम ये भी ले लेते हैं कि इन्वेस्टर्स पेशेंट रहेंगे, इट्स लॉन्ग टर्म सक्सेस विल डिपेंड ऑन वेदर मैनेजमेंट कैन डैश, वेदर मैनेजमेंट कैन डैश, तो कैसा वर्ड चाहिए मेरे को, पॉजिटिव चाहिए, ठीक है ना। इंस्टेड ऑफ रिलाइंग ऑन शॉर्ट टर्म हाइप, शॉर्ट टर्म हाइप के ऊपर रिलाई नहीं करना है, उसके जगह क्या करना है, बेटर करना है। तो बताओ इसके हिसाब से आंसर क्या लगता है, गो राउंड इन सर्कल्स, कैन इट बी? This is the last class for today, bro. Nirmit says B. Okay, Nirmit. Can you just tell me why I can't go across with A? Look at it, guys. Go around in circles. When I'm saying go around in circles, it means it is not growing anyway, right? It is just moving round and round. तो इसका मतलब ये तो नेगेटिव है, मुझे तो नेगेटिव नहीं चाहिए, खत्म. Get its act together. When I get, somebody says like get your act together, what does it mean? Get organized kind of a thing, है ना? Prepare for something, ऐसे preparation वाली बात चल रही है ना? तो this is a positive thing, preparation तो करनी चाहिए. Fly off the handle का मतलब क्या हो गया? Off the handle, which means like is he controlled or it is uncontrolled, है ना? कुछ off the handle जा रहा है, I cannot handle it, which means it is not controlled. Therefore, this is also negative, right? This is negative. The above is negative. Pass the buck. When you pass the buck, what do? You what do? Pass the buck means you shift the responsibility. ठीक है, तेरी गलती है भाई, तेरी गलती है, सामने वाला कहता है ना 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 मेरी नहीं है, इसकी है, and it goes on and on, right? So this is also a negative thought process. Hit the nail on the head मतलब you are straightforward, ठीक है? तो it's a neutral word generally, neutral positive, और है ना, neutral positive क्यों? Because somebody says like हाँ ठीक है, he hits the nail on the head, मतलब क्या हुआ, he's always very precise, he's always very direct, he's very straightforward, तो वैसे वाली बात हो रही है, तो हाँ ठीक है, ये पॉजिटिव हो सकता है. बट समटाइम्स पीपल डू नॉट लाइक स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड पीपल एंड देयरफॉर इट कैन आल्सो बी अ न्यूट्रल थिंग. सो न्यूट्रल पॉजिटिव. सो एज पर दिस क्या करें, ऑन वेदर मैनेजमेंट कैन हिट द नेल ऑन द हेड इंस्टेड ऑफ रिलाइंग ऑन शॉर्ट टर्म हाइप. Relying on something and being straightforward does not work, but preparing oneself instead of relying on short term things, preparing is a better deal, and therefore B is the right answer. ठीक है, I hope everyone has understood the thought process. ठीक है, uh, see, the options are also given across out here. So when you join me, as we are starting with our this thing crash course, okay, fast track rather, it's a fast track course for all of you aspirants. So when you join me, I would be sharing all these lists with you so that it works for you and you go through them and start working. क्योंकि भाई हमारे पास टाइम ज़्यादा नहीं है, ठीक है ना? और अगर हम क्लासेस मिस करेंगे या फिर हम कुछ भी अगर मिस करेंगे यहाँ पर, तो इट वुड बी वेरी वेरी प्रॉब्लमैटिक आउट देयर व्हेन यू सिट अक्रॉस फॉर द एक्चुअल पेपर. ठीक है, आज का पेपर आपने करके देखा होगा, तो जब आपने ये क्वेश्चंस मेरे साथ आज किए होंगे, यू सॉ दैट आउट ऑफ 5 यू आर गेटिंग 4 करेक्ट, ठीक है, और मे बी यू आर गेटिंग 3 करेक्ट, ठीक है. तो वो एक एक क्वेश्चन का जो फर्क आ रहा है ना मेरे भाई, वी हैव टू कवर दैट, राइट? 2 मार्क 3 क्वेश्चन 4 क्वेश्चन, हम इतना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम नहीं ले सकते, हम इतना बड़ा चांस नहीं ले सकते. वी हैव टू ग्रो फॉरवर्ड इन एनी वे, ठीक है. सो दैट्स दैट गाइज, आज का 10 डन विद इट. कल हम सिर्फ 7 क्वेश्चंस कर पाए थे, आज आपने देखा कि आपका स्पीड ऑलमोस्ट थोड़ा बहुत बढ़ चुका है. यू कुड मेक इट फार बेटर देन येस्टरडे, ठीक है ना? तो आपके 10 क्वेश्चन आज पूरे हो गए, राइट? नाउ द नेक्स्ट क्लास वी आर गोइंग टू डू, नेक्स्ट वीक जो होगा, आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू एक और नया टॉपिक एंड वी आर गोइंग टू वर्क अपॉन दैट, ठीक है? Until then, take care. Any questions you have for me, you can ask away. ठीक है, बताइए. Nirmit, very good. That's yes, that's what it was. Okay, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.